Chosen ones, the spiritual alarm is sounding. 911, emergency frequency. Your angels are breaking protocol to get this message through to you because time is running out. Right now, at this very moment, multiple people from your past are sitting in rooms plotting their return into your life. They're strategizing, they're calculating, they're watching your every move from a distance, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This month, someone is going to reach out, not because they've changed, not because they genuinely miss you, but because they've sensed something in the spiritual atmosphere that's driving them absolutely insane with desperation. You've been feeling it too, haven't you? The strange dreams, the random anxiety, the unexplained heaviness that seems to come out of nowhere. That's not paranoia. That's your spirit picking up on the energetic disturbance of people planning and plotting their comeback into your world. Here's what you're about to discover. The real reason these energy vampires can't stay away, the spiritual danger their return represents, and why your angels are issuing a code red warning with an urgency you've never felt before. Think of it like this. You've just escaped a burning building, and these people are trying to convince you to run back inside because they left something of theirs in there. The building is still on fire, and what they left behind was never yours to retrieve in the first place. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal will save you from repeating one of the most painful cycles in your spiritual journey. You're about to understand why certain doors needed to close, and why keeping them closed is the only way forward. You've been having dreams about this person, vivid ones, the kind that feel too real to be random neural firings while you sleep. You wake up confused because you thought you were done with them, you thought you'd moved on. But here they are again, showing up in your subconscious, disrupting the peace you worked so hard to build. And here's what most people won't tell you. These aren't just dreams, they're energetic intrusions. This person is thinking about you obsessively. Their soul is reaching out to yours because on some level they know they're running out of time to reconnect with you. They can feel you slipping away into a reality where they no longer exist, where their influence is completely severed. So their energy invades your sleep, trying to keep the connection alive. But there's something else happening in these dreams. You used to dream together. You used to share visions of a future that seemed possible when you were together. You'd talk about plans, goals, the life you'd build. Then reality set in. You realized your paths weren't just different, they were fundamentally opposed. You were climbing toward light, they were comfortable in shadow. You were healing, they were weaponizing their wounds. You were seeking purpose, they were seeking pleasure and distraction. The dreams you're having now are your higher self showing you what could have been if you'd stayed, and it's not pretty. It's a timeline where your gifts are buried, where your voice is silenced, where your light is dimmed just enough to make them comfortable. Your angels are using these dreams as warnings. They're showing you that this person is spiritually active, reaching out through the veil, trying to re-establish cords that you've worked hard to cut. And some of you have been sensing this for days, maybe weeks. You get that feeling, that knowing. Something's coming. Someone's about to make a move. You're right. Trust that intuition, because it's never been sharper than it is right now. This person used to present themselves as devoted. They'd say all the right things. They'd show up at strategic moments to make it seem like they were always there for you. And in your lowest seasons, when you felt isolated and alone, they were present. That's the trap, isn't it? When you're vulnerable, when you're at your weakest, certain people come in and position themselves as saviors. They weren't saving you, they were taking advantage of your vulnerability. They were planting roots into your life while you were too depleted to see their true nature. And now that you've healed, now that you've reclaimed your power, you can see it clearly. They weren't loyal, they were opportunistic. Real loyalty doesn't just show up when you're down. Real loyalty celebrates when you're up. Real loyalty doesn't feel threatened by your growth. Real loyalty doesn't try to keep you small so they can feel big. And that's exactly what this person did. They needed you broken just enough to need them. They needed you confused just enough to stay. They needed you distracted just enough to never fully realize your potential. because deep down they knew something you're only now beginning to understand. You were always destined for more than they could ever access. Now they're experiencing life without your loyalty, without your protection, without your wisdom, and it's destroying them. Every decision they make backfires. Every person they try to replace you with falls short. Every opportunity they thought would work out crumbles. And they're starting to realize that when you were in their life, doors opened, things flowed, problems solved themselves, not because of luck, because of you. Your energy is a key that unlocks blessings. Your presence brings divine favor, and they've been locked out of that grace ever since you walked away. So now they're coming back, not because they love you, but because they miss what you provided. They miss the access. They miss the opportunities. They miss the peace your energy brought to their chaos. They miss feeling protected by your prayers and covered by your light. But here's what they still don't understand. You're not a resource to be exploited. You're not a lucky charm to be kept in someone's pocket. But you're a chosen vessel with a divine assignment, and they were never meant to be part of that journey. Make no mistake, this person isn't coming back on impulse. They've been watching, they've been calculating, they've been waiting for the right moment when you might be vulnerable enough to let them back in. They know the anniversary dates, they know your patterns, they know what words used to work on you, and they're preparing their approach with precision. This isn't love, this is strategy. And the universe is warning you because the deception runs deep. Some of you will get the casual text, the "hey, I was just thinking about you" message. Some will get the emotional manipulation, the "I've changed, I've been working on myself" speech. Some will experience the accidental run-in that's anything but accidental. They've positioned themselves in places they know you'll be. And for others it'll be more aggressive, the grand gesture, the public apology, the display meant to make you look cold if you don't respond. They know your weaknesses, they know your soft spots, and they're going to aim directly at them. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. There's a reason your angels are being stern about this situation. It's not just about protecting your peace, it's about protecting your soul. This person was leading you somewhere dangerous. Maybe not physically, though for some of you that's true too. But spiritually, mentally, emotionally, they were pulling you into patterns that contradicted everything you're called to be. They were normalizing behaviors that went against your values. They were encouraging choices that dimmed your light. And the worst part, they knew exactly what they were doing. Some people are so lost in their own darkness that they can't stand to see anyone in the light. It reminds them of everything they've chosen not to be. So they pull, they manipulate, they create chaos, they plant doubt, they trigger your worst impulses, and they do it all while claiming they love you. But love doesn't lead you away from your purpose. Love doesn't distract you from your calling. Love doesn't sabotage your progress. Love doesn't celebrate your pain. And this person, they weren't loving you. They were using you to avoid facing themselves. You started noticing things, the way they reacted when good things happened to you, the way they always had a crisis right when you were about to focus on yourself, the way they criticized your dreams while pretending to support them, the way they surrounded you with negative influences and called it community, the way they made you question your own intuition, the way they isolated you from people who genuinely cared about you, the way they turned your compassion into a weapon against yourself. And when you tried to address it, they flipped the script. Suddenly you were the problem. You were too sensitive. You were overreacting. You were being judgmental. You were abandoning them in their time of need. They used your own empathy to guilt you into staying in situations that were destroying you. That's not love. That's spiritual warfare, and your angels removed you from that battlefield because they knew if you stayed any longer, you'd lose yourself completely. You felt it, like a fog lifting, like weights falling off your shoulders, like you can finally breathe fully for the first time in years. That's not coincidence. That's the breaking of energetic attachments that were keeping you bound to lower frequencies. This person had cords wrapped around your energy field, feeding off your light, draining your vitality. And through prayer, through healing work, through the simple act of choosing yourself over their comfort, those cords have been severed. And here's something most people won't tell you about energy vampires. They don't always look like villains. Sometimes they look like your best friend. Sometimes they wear the face of family. Sometimes they speak the language of love, while systematically draining everything that makes you who you are. This person knew how to position themselves. They knew exactly when to show up to make it look like devotion. They knew exactly what to say to make it sound like loyalty. But actions over time reveal truth that words can never hide. Think about how your life functioned when they were in it, the constant drama that somehow always needed your immediate attention, the crises that erupted right when you were about to focus on your own dreams, the way conversations always circled back to their problems, their needs, their perspective, the way your victories were minimized while their struggles were maximized, the way you ended phone calls feeling depleted instead of energized, the way you had to brace yourself before seeing them, like you were preparing for battle instead of connection. That's not what genuine relationships feel like. Real connections leave you feeling fuller, not emptier. Real love amplifies your light instead of feeding off it. Real support celebrates your ascension instead of resenting it. And this person, they were operating from a scarcity mindset that saw your abundance as a threat. They were living from a poverty consciousness that needed you small to feel secure. They were moving from a place of lack that required your energy to function because they disconnected from their own source. Tontabenti, they feel it too. That's why the panic is setting in. That's why the urge to reach out is becoming unbearable for them. They can sense that the connection is dissolving, the hold they once had is gone, and it's terrifying them because without access to your energy, they're forced to face the emptiness of their own existence. They're forced to confront the fact that their life lacks meaning without someone like you in it to give it purpose. They're forced to acknowledge that they've built nothing substantial on their own. You were protecting them in ways you didn't even realize. Your presence in their life kept certain consequences at bay. Your prayers covered them. Your wisdom guided them even when they pretended not to listen. Your energy created opportunities they took credit for. And now that you're gone, reality is hitting them hard. The people they thought were friends are revealing their true nature. The shortcuts they took are catching up to them. The lies they told are unraveling. The karma they accumulated is coming due, and they're drowning without you there to keep them afloat. But here's the thing, that was never your job. You're not here to be someone's spiritual life raft. You're not here to sacrifice your own journey to keep someone else comfortable in their dysfunction. You're not here to carry burdens that were never meant for you. And the universe had to break that spell to free you for what's coming next. Because where you're going, they can't follow. The dimension you're ascending into operates on frequencies they've refused to attune to. There's another layer to this that needs to be said. This person didn't just drain your energy, they exposed you to spiritual danger you didn't even recognize at the time. They opened doors in the spirit realm through their habits, their associations, their refusal to protect themselves spiritually. And because you were connected to them, those doors affected you too. The anxiety you couldn't explain, the nightmares that seemed random, the sudden blocks that appeared in areas of your life that were flowing fine, the way opportunities would fall through at the last minute, the way relationships around you started experiencing unusual conflict. That wasn't coincidence. That was spiritual contamination from someone who refused to cleanse themselves. Some of you literally felt like you were under attack during that season. You'd pray and feel temporary relief, but the heaviness would return. You'd cleanse your space and feel better for a day, but the oppression would creep back in. You couldn't understand why your spiritual practices weren't holding the way they used to. It's because you were trying to protect yourself while staying connected to someone who was a walking open door to dark influences. And I'm not saying this to make you paranoid. I'm saying this so you understand why your angels are being so firm about keeping this person out of your life now. They see what happened last time. They're not letting it happen again. Your body knows before your mind catches up. That's how deep this person's impact went. When you think about them, do you feel expansion or contraction? When you imagine them back in your life, does your chest open or tighten? When you remember the relationship, does it energize you or drain you? Your physical response is telling you everything you need to know. This isn't about holding grudges. This isn't about unforgiveness. This is about honoring the wisdom your body carries about what's safe and what isn't. Some of you have been experiencing anxiety lately, random panic attacks, sleepless nights, unexplained stress in your body. That's not coming from nowhere. That's your system picking up on the energetic disturbance of this person, preparing to re-enter your space. You're more psychically sensitive than you give yourself credit for. You feel shifts before they happen. You sense intentions before they're spoken. And right now, your entire being is on alert because it remembers what this person's energy does to you. They made you doubt yourself. They made you question your sanity. They made you feel like you were the problem when you were just reacting to their chaos. They gaslighted you so consistently that you started gaslighting yourself, and your nervous system remembers. Your body keeps the score of every boundary violation, every manipulation, every moment you had to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. You can't think your way into forgetting that. You can't positive affirmation your way past the truth your body holds. And here's what's crucial to understand. This person hasn't done the work to be different. They haven't faced themselves. They haven't taken accountability. They haven't healed the wounds that made them treat you that way in the first place. So if you let them back in, you're not getting a new person. You're getting the same person with a better script. The same patterns will emerge. The same cycles will repeat. The same damage will occur. Except this time, you won't have the excuse of ignorance. This time, you'll know exactly what you're walking back into. The universe has been preparing something for you. You've felt the shifts. You've sensed the momentum building. Doors are about to open that have been closed your entire life. Opportunities are about to present themselves that will fundamentally change your trajectory. Connections are about to be made that will align you with your true purpose. Resources are about to flow that will support your next level. But here's the catch. You can't carry old energy into new dimensions. This person represents your past, not just chronologically, but vibrationally. They represent who you used to be when you didn't know your worth. They represent the version of you that tolerated disrespect because you didn't believe you deserved better. They represent the consciousness you had before you woke up to your true identity as a chosen one. And if you allow them back into your space, you'll be choosing to stay in resonance with that old frequency. You'll be choosing the familiar over the destined. You'll be choosing comfort over calling. And let's talk about what you're actually walking into if you open that door again. Financial opportunities are lining up for you right now. Doors are about to open that will elevate not just your income but your entire lifestyle. Resources are about to flow that will fund the vision you've been carrying. And this person, they're going to want a piece of it, not because they helped you build it, not because they supported you when you were in the trenches, but because they feel entitled to benefit from your harvest when they never helped you plant or water the seeds. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in, so let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. Bonchanthiona Babordi wise, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Some of you are about to receive promotions, job offers, business opportunities that will change your financial reality completely. New homes are coming, new vehicles, new levels of abundance that reflect the internal work you've done. And the moment this person senses that shift, they're going to position themselves as if they were always in your corner. They're going to rewrite history to make it seem like they believed in you when you know they were the main one doubting you. They're going to show up with their hand out, expecting access to blessings they did nothing to help manifest. Some of you are about to step into relationships that will actually honor you. Some of you are about to connect with soul family who will celebrate your light instead of trying to dim it. Some of you are about to enter partnerships that will multiply your impact instead of divide your focus. Some of you are about to experience love that feels like coming home instead of going to war. But you can't receive these gifts while still holding space for people who don't deserve access to your energy. Your reputation is about to shift too. People are about to see you differently. Your name is about to carry weight in rooms you haven't even entered yet. Influence is coming. Platform is expanding. And this person being attached to you will damage that. Not because you should care what people think, but because their energy is toxic enough to contaminate opportunities before they even reach you. They move sloppy, they speak carelessly, they carry themselves without dignity or discernment, and when people see them next to you, it will raise questions about your judgment that will cost you connections you can't afford to lose right now. This is a test. That's what you need to understand. When someone from your past resurfaces right before a major breakthrough, it's always a test. The universe is asking, are you really ready for what's coming? Are you really committed to this new path? Are you really done with the patterns that kept you stuck? Because if you're not, if you still have one foot in the old reality, you're not ready for the new one. And the universe won't force you into blessing if you're not willing to release what's blocking it. This person sees themselves when they look at you, not who they are, but who they could have been if they'd made different choices. You represent the road not taken. You represent integrity they compromised. You represent growth they avoided. You represent light they dimmed in themselves. And that reflection is unbearable. That's why they tried to tear you down. That's why they criticized your path. That's why they mocked your spiritual journey. Because every step you took toward elevation reminded them of every step they refused to take. Now you're thriving, you're glowing, you're becoming, and they can't stand it. But they also can't look away. They check your social media obsessively. They ask mutual friends about you. They drive past places they know you frequent. They're tormented by the evidence of your evolution because it proves that the problem was never you. It proves that you're capable of the very things they said you weren't. It proves that the life they claimed was impossible is not only possible but happening for you right now. And somewhere in their consciousness, beneath all the ego and pride, there's a small voice asking, what if I'd chosen differently? What if I'd done the work? What if I'd valued what I had instead of taking it for granted? That voice is getting louder. That regret is getting heavier. And instead of sitting with that discomfort, instead of using it as fuel for genuine transformation, they're trying to escape it by coming back to you. They think if they can just get back in your good graces, they can feel okay about themselves again. They think if they can just have access to your energy again, they won't have to face the emptiness they've created in their own life. But you're not responsible for making them feel better about their choices. You're not responsible for helping them avoid the consequences of their actions. You're not responsible for giving them another chance to prove they're a good person. They had their chance. They showed you who they are. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Not just the first time, not just the second time. Every single time, until you finally honor the truth enough to act on it. Your angels have been working overtime. You might not see it, but there have been so many close calls they've diverted, so many toxic situations they've redirected, so many harmful connections they've blocked before they could take root in your life. And this person trying to come back, your angels are standing firm on this one. They're making it clear this door stays closed, not as punishment, not as a test of your compassion, but as protection for the mission you're here to fulfill. Some people are assignments, not soulmates. Some people are lessons, not blessings. Some people are placed in your path to show you what you need to heal, not what you need to keep. And this person served their purpose. They showed you your shadows. They revealed your patterns. They exposed your wounds. They forced you to develop discernment. They taught you about boundaries. They showed you what you'll no longer tolerate. And now that the lesson is complete, there's no reason for them to remain. Everything is at stake right now. Not in a fearful way, but in a truth-telling way. You're standing at a crossroads. One path leads to your destiny. The other leads back to familiar dysfunction. One path honors the work you've done. The other invalidates it. One path opens you to divine alignment. The other keeps you trapped in karmic cycles. And the choice is yours. It always has been. But now you know too much to choose unconsciously. This isn't just about this one person. This is about whether you're ready to fully embody your identity as a chosen one. This is about whether you're ready to operate from the standard that identity requires. This is about whether you're ready to cut off access to anyone who doesn't treat you with the reverence your calling demands. Because where you're going, you need people who understand spiritual protocol. You need people who move with integrity. You need people who protect your energy as carefully as you protect theirs. The next chapter of your life requires a different caliber of connection. You're about to step into rooms you've never been in. You're about to have conversations that will shift nations. You're about to receive downloads that will heal generations. You're about to walk in authority that will threaten systems. And you can't do that with someone beside you who constantly questions your sanity, doubts your gifts, or diminishes your calling. You need people who amplify what's in you, not suppress it. This person will try to make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. They'll paint themselves as the victim. They'll tell a version of the story where you're cold, unforgiving, judgmental. Let them. Your reputation among people who don't understand your journey is irrelevant. What matters is your alignment with your purpose. What matters is the integrity of your energy field. What matters is staying true to the path that's been laid out for you, even when it requires difficult decisions. Look at who you've become through this process. Look at the resilience you've developed. Look at the wisdom you've earned. Look at the boundaries you've learned to hold. Look at the self-love you've cultivated. Look at the peace you've created. This person didn't give you any of that. You built it yourself in the rubble of what they destroyed. You alchemized your pain into power. You transformed your wounds into wisdom. You turned your breakdown into your breakthrough. And that's what they can't comprehend. They think they can just walk back into the version of you they knew. They think they can pick up where they left off. They think the door they walked out of is still open, but that door doesn't exist anymore. You demolished that entire structure and built something new. You're not who you were when they knew you. You're not operating from the same consciousness. You're not available for the same patterns. You're not tolerating the same energy. Truntabandexin. Some of you fought for this freedom. You fought against your own heart that wanted to hold on. You fought against your own hope that they'd change. You fought against your own fear of being alone. You fought against your own conditioning that said you should be more understanding, more patient, more forgiving, and you won. You chose yourself even when it hurt. You walked away even when it felt impossible. You maintained your boundary even when they pushed against it. That's warrior energy. That's chosen one energy. That's the strength that's going to carry you into everything that's coming. Don't dishonor that struggle by giving in now. Don't invalidate that growth by reverting to old patterns. Don't waste that transformation by letting someone back in who hasn't done a fraction of the work you've done. You didn't survive that season to go back and relive it. You survived it to testify about it. You survived it to help others escape it. You survived it to prove that freedom is possible on the other side of difficult decisions. You already know what you need to do. Your spirit has been telling you since the moment you felt them stirring in the spiritual realm. Your body has been telling you through every tightness in your chest, every knot in your stomach, every tension in your shoulders. Your dreams have been telling you through the warnings they contain. Your intuition has been telling you through that inner knowing that something's off, and your angels have been telling you through every sign, every synchronicity, every divinely orchestrated message that confirms what you already sense. The only thing standing between you and the clarity you seek is your willingness to honor what you already know. This person coming back isn't a test of your forgiveness, it's a test of your commitment to your own evolution. This isn't about being mean or cold or unspiritual. This is about being wise enough to recognize that not everyone who leaves gets to come back. This is about being strong enough to maintain boundaries even when they're tested. This is about being clear enough to see manipulation dressed up as reconciliation. When they reach out, and they will reach out, you don't owe them a response. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them a second chance to prove they've changed. You don't owe them access to the peace you've fought so hard to create. The door closing wasn't the end of their story. It was the beginning of yours, and that story doesn't include them. Not as a main character, not as a supporting role, not even as a brief cameo. Your future is calling. It's been calling for a while now, and the volume is getting louder. The opportunities are getting bigger. The connections are getting deeper. The impact is getting wider. But you have to keep walking toward it. You have to keep choosing it over the comfort of the familiar. You have to keep protecting the sacred space you've created, because the moment you compromise that space for someone who already proved they don't value it, you lose everything you've gained. Chosen one, this is your moment of decision. Not just about this person, but about the life you're truly ready to claim. The universe is watching. Your angels are waiting. Your destiny is calling. And all of it depends on your willingness to honor the truth you carry about who belongs in your life and who doesn't. Trust the warning. Trust the signs. Trust the journey that brought you here. And most of all, trust that you're worth protecting at all costs. The future you've been praying for depends on the boundary you hold today. Choose wisely. Choose yourself. Choose your calling over their comfort. Come and watch how quickly everything you've been waiting for falls into place the moment you fully commit to the path that's been prepared for you all.